Hey Samford fans, welcome into this week's edition of the Student Athlete Spotlight presented by Coca-Cola. I'm John McAfee, happy to be joined today by junior women's golfer MK Horton. MK, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, start by telling us a little bit about what it's been like to be back on campus, back with the team. Obviously, your spring season got cut short last year. Tell us a little bit about what the mood and atmosphere amongst the team has been like.
As much as everything's changed, I don't think as far as the team mindset goes, anything's really different. I think we're all still bought into the process of getting better and getting prepared to take on the spring. Our fall season was more of like exhibition. Those tournaments really didn't carry a whole lot of weight. So I think we're all just in the mindset of doing what we need to do now to be prepared when we take on our spring season. And conference is obviously in the spring, so that's really at the forefront of all of our minds, thinking about it now and how we can get ready to take that on.
You play a pretty socially distant sport. Were you able to get some golf in during quarantine?
I played a lot of golf over the summer. I think there were a lot of organizations that adhered to all the COVID regulations and guidelines very, very well. So I got to play a bunch of amateur tournaments. I got to play one professional event, which was my very first event. Made the cut in every single event I played in, which was super, super awesome. And so I felt really good coming back. That was obviously before they had made the call to cancel fall sports, but I mean, our fall season is just kind of like a preseason, I guess. So, but I still miss traveling and having the opportunity to play.
What was the pro event?
It was the Tennessee Women's Open. So it's kind of like an amateur pro event, but if you win, you get $5,000, which is like,
that's
to a
awesome.
broke college kid, you're like, great, I can't keep any of that, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Joe Davidson now at the helm of the program, and I know he traveled with the team a little bit last spring, so you were able to get used to him being around the team a little bit when Haley Wilson was pregnant with twins. Tell us a little bit about how the transition has gone to Joe Davidson.
Joe is awesome. He's been such a light. I mean, you can obviously tell how much he loves golf, but also how much he really cares for everybody on the team. He always texts us, how are you doing? How are your classes going? Is there anything I can do for you? What do you need? How are you feeling going into this? And he'll text us each afternoon, a motivational quote to get us through the week because, he knows that our lives as student athletes are really hectic and crazy. So it's been as smooth a transition as you could possibly imagine. And we're so glad to have him as a leader and as a coach and as a mentor, not only in golf, but in life as well.
You've got a really young team this year. You're really the only upperclassman. You're a senior academically, but a junior on the golf course. How important is it for you to take on a leadership role this year?
I don't think it's been too difficult for me to kind of step up and be a leader. I kind of had to do a little bit of that at the end of the year last year because everything was so uncertain as to what it was going to look like going forward. I just think it's really important to let the freshmen and, obviously the sophomores and Sophie know that, even though we don't really know what's going to come in the spring, yet, that, we're all in this together and that it's going to be okay. We're going to go through this as a team and we're going to figure it out and we're going to make the best of it and that, no one's going through this by themselves. So stepping up and being a leader, I really wouldn't call myself that. I would just say that, I'm kind of taking the initiative to step up and be someone that everyone can talk to, unbiased opinion, be there for whatever anybody else needs.
Leaders, of course, often go through some trials and tribulations as well, and I know you've had some wrist issues previously in your collegiate golf career. Tell us a little bit about what went on with your wrist and really how it affects you, if it affects you at all today.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I tore some cartilage in my left wrist, and we got that repaired after our fall season ended. I really was never the same. I felt like that first surgery really didn't fix anything. So I played on it for a little bit and went back to Andrews, and they said, hey, it's really crazy, but one of your bones is longer than the other, and it's causing all of your other carpal bones in your hand to grind around when you hit the ball. So we're going to need to cut 6 millimeters of your bone out. And hearing that and looking at my parents' face and then being like, wait a minute, it was really hard for me to commit to that and say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to go ahead and have the surgery. But I wouldn't change it. I learned so much about myself through that whole process. And the staff at Samford, ATI, Logan Spears, they were great at getting me back on the course, and I'm so thankful that they're here to support me through everything that I've been through. But, I'm healed from that now, and it's more of a mental thing as far as affecting me currently. It's still always at the back of my mind every time I step over a shot, but I know structurally, I'm good, and I'm good to go. So it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing at this point for me.
being a spring athlete, you got that extra year of eligibility since your season was cut short, which is why you're still considered a junior athletically. Have you given thought to coming back next year? Do you know what your plans are as far as next year?
Yes, I plan on coming back. I plan on pursuing an MBA, so I'll graduate with my undergrad in the spring and then plan on coming back for my victory lap and taking on grad school and one more year with the girls.
Give us a little bit of a preview of the Samford women's golf team this spring. What can you expect? I know you've got some new faces.
We have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talent that came in. 2 of our freshmen are phenomenal players. They're actually playing U.S. 4-ball qualifying. They played that over the weekend. So it's been great to see the talent and the drive that they have coming in already, paired with the talent that we already have. So I think this spring is going to be a really good season for us. And come conference time, I think we're going to mess with a lot of people's head as to how good we are and our future taking on conference. So.
All right, everyone's favorite part of the show, rapid fire.
Yeah.
We're going to do 5 questions for you and then 5 about your team.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, favorite spot in Birmingham?
Ooh, Jack Brown's.
That's a pretty popular answer. What would maybe a second one be if you had to go outside of Jack Brown's?
Gosh. Probably Melt. I like Melt. It's
Yeah.
good.
TV show you're currently binge watching or
Ooh.
recently binge watched?
New Girl on Netflix.
Favorite hobby outside of golf?
Being outside and listening to music, just absolutely chilling.
Favorite genre of music?
Country.
Popular answer as well. Biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, when people smack their food and I can hear it.
That's a good one.
hate that.
That's a good one. Dream job?
Ooh, professional golfer. Not like playing, but head professional at a golf course, like teaching people.
Okay. Gonna switch it up and go to your team now. Best singer?
Oh, no one can sing. God, I don't have a good answer for that. I'll go with one of the freshmen. I'll go Kelly Topwalla.
What about best dancer?
They're all so bad, but it's so funny to watch. I'll go Allison Dusek.
Best overall athlete?
I would be selfish and say myself.
Okay, if you had to say someone outside of yourself, who would it be?
Allison Howard.
Most stubborn?
Allison Dusek.
Most scatterbrained?
Allison Dusek.
Most intense on the golf course?
Allison Dusek.
Popular answer
Yeah.
today. Most likely to argue with Joe Davidson?
Allison Howard.
And best impersonation of Joe Davidson?
Sophie Membrino. She does a good one of him.
We're going to have to try to get that on camera at some point. MK, I appreciate your time. Looking forward to watching you girls play in the spring.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's MK Horton. That'll do it for this edition of the Student Athlete Spotlight presented by Coca-Cola.